Hello, Arctic Monkey. Hello, Taha. What's up? Good evening to you as well. Hi Silence, hi Mo, hi M-Lord, hi Stony. A rare sight it is, me drawing on the iPad. Well, I do it a lot. Just not super often for YouTube stuff. I was just in the mood for it this morning. I haven't drawn in a few days here. I'm trying to get back in the groove. Just playing with whatever little bit of interest will kind of give me a gateway. Very funny, Cooper. There is no plan. I've got no plan. I just need to sit and draw. I'm mostly streaming because I was like, oh yeah, that'll make me sit there and do it for a bit. From the thumbnail, I thought it was Marshall Van Druff at first. You'll never see Marshall again. Draftsman is over. Marshall's gonna retreat back into the real world instead of the digital world. Kind of looks like Richard Nixon, that one, except for the glasses. Thanks, Zico. Happy to have you as a fan. Ooh, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm feeling tired this morning. Oh man, I gotta get into it. I gotta snap into it. I gotta be an internet person. You know, I gotta show up with a bunch of manufactured energy, like, hey everybody, here we are, back to another awesome drawing stream. Get ready to learn a lot and chat through all of my big techniques and tricks. I can't do it. I tried. I was hoping if I faked it for a second, I would sort of click into it, but it didn't work. I'm alright, Silence. I just wrapped up the workshop a few days ago, and then I went into a long stretch of seeing people and doing stuff. You know, had a bunch of social obligations and things like that. That's been nice. I just had a lot of stuff like around Halloween, a few birthdays, a few goodbyes, a few visitors. Like I said, not a lot of drawing. Ain't been drawing the past few days. A lot of living life. Haircut makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. The Lo-Fi is sick. Thank Lofi Girl. Thank you, Chilled Cow, for making your music free for people to use. How's the workshop going? It went well. It's done now. You know, a month goes by like nothing these days. Steven, how can I show you a drawing? It means a lot to me because this drawing was my first step to overcome a deep art trauma with drawing women. I wasn't able at all. Your words encouraged me to fight. Nice. Posting it on Instagram and tagging me in it, I see most of those. I can't guarantee an answer by any means, but I do usually see them. Let's see what's going on. Yo, just tuning in while trying to email myself a little commission I did, but experiencing technical difficulties. Well, I hope those technical difficulties disappear forever. Get them out of here. Get them out of life. How do it be, Steven? Haven't seen you in a while. Here's a question. Do you draw every day? Not every day. I used to. There's been periods where I was like really, really strict about it, but most days, the vast majority of days, yes, I do draw. But like I said, I didn't draw really like the past 3 or 4 days. That's a pretty long stretch for me. But I don't sweat it when that happens. And you know, if I'm perfectly honest, like in those 3 or 4 days, there probably were, I did draw like just a little bit in the morning in my morning coffee sketchbook or something like that, just not like a protracted period of drawing. But yeah, if I really think about it, even though I said, oh yeah, I didn't draw those days, I probably drew like 20 minutes on most of those days or half of those days or something like that. How are you able to simplify the complex facial structure to shapes like you are doing now? There's no answer for that other than years and years of practice. That's all it is. That's all it is. But that is all it is, and that's a lot. But yeah, it's just looking at real faces from all sorts of different angles, filling sketchbooks with hundreds and hundreds of heads. I've drawn many thousands and thousands of heads, probably in the multiple tens of thousands. And that's it. And that's what's gonna do it, you know? There's no... Well, look, here's what I want to say about something like simplifying shapes and things like that. The way that you get better at that is you do it, right? So your first attempts at simplification are going to go horribly wrong, disastrously wrong, and then once you've done 1,000 of them, things will get better. You're here to mentally prepare yourself for 5 hours of painting today. Nice. Go for it. Get prepared. Prepare the mind. This is the most cartoony stuff I've ever seen from Steven. Is it the influence of the iPad? I do stuff like this all the time. I do it in my sketchbook. I do it in Photoshop. It's not the iPad. I do all sorts of styles and methods and looks that I generally don't share because they're just they're off-brand and they make me lose followers and stuff like that. But I do all sorts of stuff. Some days I feel like drawing very seriously. Some days I feel like drawing a little bit more silly. Some days it's more cartoony. Some day it's more stylized. Some day it's more academic. Some day it's more abstract. I have whole sketchbooks that are full of nothing but abstract drawings. There's not a representational thing in them. They're all compositions of, just abstract graphic elements and weird bits of spinning forms in space and things like that. I do all sorts of stuff. Thank you, Michalis. I appreciate the kind words. I'm glad you are drawing again. Do you use a screen protector to imitate a textured drawing surface? Nope. I just draw right on the glass, the factory glass. I'm used to the perfectly slick feeling from years of using graphics tablets. They have a texture when you first get them, but after just a couple months, they're smooth as glass. So I've been used to that for a long time. Do you feel pressured to keep a certain style of drawing most of the time in order to get better engagement on social media? Right now, it's not the usual pencil rendering you do. Does it hurt that? Yeah, usually. I mean, I feel pressure like any artist does, but I try not to worry about it. I just don't care. If my business, like if my life was more connected with my social media numbers being high or something like that, or at least on a place like Instagram, it would be more worrying. But YouTube is about different stuff. It's less about my art and more about what I have to say, so it takes some of the pressure off. And yeah, screw Instagram. Who cares? So I just try not to worry about it. But yeah, I think everybody who has a following, I think it's inevitable. You feel the pressure to do the thing that got you that following. The algorithm conditions for that. And basically nobody escapes it. You just need to, you're either okay with it, if you're the kind of artist who really just likes doing one thing, but I'm not. I just accept my mercurial nature. And so, yeah, I just break the quote unquote rules whenever I want. I just draw however I want, whenever I want. I insist on that. I just feel lucky that the thing that people know me for, and that is the basis for my social media presence, I just feel lucky that happened to be a thing that I do really love, right? I do really love doing those kinds of drawings, and it didn't have to be that way. It could have been something else. But even though I really love doing those, and they are possibly my favorite thing that I do, I just can't help it. I love to change. I love to just try out new things and do whatever I want. I'm not the kind of artist who can just do the same thing over and over again, even if it's a lot of fun. Can you be too obsessed with drawing? For sure. Absolutely. It can get extremely unhealthy. It's a very common feeling for artists to either they feel willing to die for the art, or they want to feel willing to die for the art. And that's very unhealthy. That's very dangerous. Because people do it. You know, they do punish themselves and hurt themselves and beat up on themselves and just deteriorate the quality of their life so that it feels like they're taking art seriously. Happens all the time. So yeah, it's possible and it's common. Which is like, it's understandable. You really love art. There's no feedback in art, right? There's nothing substantive there, right? And if you dedicate your life to it and you want to be good at it and you have all these goals, it's really easy to, I don't know how to put it. It's really easy to, you need it to hurt so that it feels real. so that it feels like you're really working hard and your family thinks you're working hard and all this stuff, which is, of course, a game that you're playing because art isn't hard, right? All you're doing is that, right? The mental war can be difficult, but the physical suffering that can be instantiated therein is not necessary. Yes, I'm basically always caricaturing myself for average. In fact, I'll just do one of me. I'll throw one of me in the mix. Oh yeah. That one came out good. That one looks just like me. Got to do the Scott Robertson draw through to figure out what the curve of my giant ear on the other side of my head would be. There we go. That's it. Perfect draw through. Thanks, Scott. It me. Hey, Stevens of Pot Art, what's your opinion on drawing with charcoal? It's the worst possible medium choice. It's for the kinds of artists who just really, they can't use anything else. It's for fools, basically. It's ridiculous, a ridiculous drawing medium. We live in the 21st century. Really? Burnt embers from a cave fire? That's what you're gonna draw with? All right, cool. Good idea. No, I'm sure it'll work out for you. If you need me, I'll be over here painting with light, with bits, with raw data, pure information. Let me out. Come on, Procreate. Come on now. Okay. I'm gonna do that. Now, can I get out? Oh my god, fine. Close. This. Hey Steven, any tips for staying concentrated when applying and learning art concepts? ADHD makes it difficult to work consistently when studying, so I often go on autopilot or get sidetracked. Yeah, unfortunately with something like ADHD, I feel very ill-equipped to give advice there, because yeah, if you have that condition, that's going to be causing particular kinds of specific problems that I'm afraid I'm ill-equipped to discuss. I'm sorry. I would definitely address the ADHD, get medication or some sort of therapeutic program that can help you with that condition. Because I honestly don't think that doing well with art is a matter of focusing while you apply art concepts. I think that happens automatically if you're having fun and you care what you're doing and you care about what you're doing. You don't need to actively concentrate on particular elements. In fact, doing that will probably make it more likely that you won't do it. You'll get distracted, you'll break the flow. Drawing is about fun and juice and verve and excitement. And then there's just an interesting little phenomena where the last thing that you were thinking about, the last art concept you were thinking about before that last drawing, it tends to sneak its way in there if you're having fun. For reasons unknown. Why? Yeah, multiply. Yeah. What is your go-to tea, Steven? I like chai black tea. Hi, Steven. Do you have any book recommendations for poses? For poses? No, not really. Just for abstract figure drawing stuff, I just use if it's really abstract, if it's just raw figure drawing, then I use Croquis Cafe on Vimeo. They have nice 4K videos of a model shot in real time doing a figure drawing session. They're good. For anything that's not abstract, I just Google that particular action and I investigate it. I study it, I go all scientific on it. So it's more like you're just drawing, and then as you think about drawing, whatever concepts you have in mind bleed through as a side effect and find themselves improved as a byproduct, basically. Steven, is there a unique reference finding technique you use which is not common knowledge in general? No, I do have excellent Google Foo, but it's not a technique, it's just a inborn talent, baby. I'm just kidding, I don't actually have great Google Foo. I would say I have above average Google Foo, but I've met people with a way better Google Foo. You just need to think outside of the box, you know? You've got to be willing to get creative about searching for things no one else would think about to find something that would help you indirectly with your drawings. I think just drawing can sometimes stilt growth, especially when quantity is valued over strong intent. Yeah, I mean, it should go without saying, like, you need to be very involved in what you're doing, right? Like, if you're just drawing and you're not having fun, you know, if you're not like really into what you're doing, like, why are you here, you know? Maybe you should be doing something else. Do you paint traditionally? If so, what medium do you prefer? Usually watercolor. I like markers too. I know that's not a medium most people think of for painting, but it really does feel a lot like painting a lot of the time. Do you think having the goal of staying strictly traditional would make the possibility of maintaining an art career harder? If you're open to the idea of being a commercial artist, of being a designer of any degree, yeah, I think it would make it harder. I mean, most commercial work these days really requires that you be willing to do at least some steps of the process digitally. It just takes way too long, traditional, especially for corrections. You need to at least be able to make corrections digitally. But if you're interested in just like making fine art or building an audience online, I wouldn't worry about it then. People react more strongly to traditional art, so it would be a benefit there. But yeah, if you have commercial aims, yeah, I'd say you probably need digital. You can dump digital later once you're popular, and people will just pay you to do whatever it is you do. But early on, I think everyone needs digital at this point. My online presence is predicated on traditional art, but I don't get hired for anything traditional. I only get hired for digital art. Any tips on drawing epic noses and mouths? Not really. Mouths are, I think of mouths as like this weird, like, I think of them like this. That's what I think of mouths as, like weird, I don't know how to say it, half ellipses that are meeting at these two joints out in the corners, and one is going that way at an angle and one is going that way at an angle. And you don't draw out to the joints necessarily, you wind up covering those with skin when you draw a real mouth, but that's how I think of a mouth when I sketch it. So I can get that middle line again, and I can say I'm looking more down on the top part. It might be something like that, smaller, and then that means that I'm seeing more of the bottom one, right? And then I draw the teeth like that. All angry squiggles. You don't really get any commission requests for traditional? Nope. Basically never. Hey Steven, do you always do some research beforehand or make a clear, straightforward ideation of what you're about to draw? On jobs, yes, every time. Definitely. Do you think that learning all the names of the anatomy is important, or just the major ones? I think if you want to draw muscular anatomy, like really high definition, like bodybuilder type stuff, or monstrous type stuff, or generally the kind of stuff that I would draw, I would say it is important. I don't see how you could do it. I think to gain that level of knowledge without learning the muscles would just be, you were doing it to be stubborn, you know, it would be way easier, and you're doing so much more work that the names are like nothing, you know. But for anything less than that, if you're just trying to draw like average people, softer figures that are more focused on gesture than specific like anatomy, just gesture and structure, yeah, I don't think it's important there. Anatomy at this point is pretty a pretty niche product. Did you update your Procreate? I did. I haven't tried out the new like 3D features or anything like that, but I did update it. For Real says, how do you approach generating ideas for a character design project? I'm struggling to do that right now. If you're a beginner or an intermediate artist, I would advise not doing something completely like abstract. Like I would illustrate characters from a book or a story or something like that. Because to do it completely new, like to do your own characters completely, requires you to spend just as much time writing as it does drawing, and a lot of people are very unwilling to do that. So I would pick a book that you love and illustrate that. When I taught production design at Art Center, we didn't let people draw characters from whatever they wanted. We gave them a set of 5 books that we, the instructors, liked and approved, and they had to work from the books. Steven, when draw doggy? This is my dog. This is my little cartoon of my dog. Yay. That's my little pup. Do you have tips for that third tier of concepting where you're creating original characters and stories? Maybe what helped you with writing those ideas? I would work to a project on that, so know that you're doing either a game or a movie or something like that. This is a very famous book, and people have differing opinions on it, but I would check out Save the Cat. I think it's the most... Is it generic? Yeah, maybe. Is it like a joke within screenwriting circles now? Yes, sure. But I think it's the most accessible, shortest, most to-the-point read of popular story structure these days. That was my assigned reading for my dramatic narrative class when I taught this stuff to college students. I would recommend starting there. Read Save the Cat, and I would follow that paradigm. So I would resolve your story to the level of a log line, then to a 1-paragraph pitch, and then ultimately to a 1-page pitch. Do a similar small to large structure for all of your characters, and make everything work together. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's like if you're writing your own characters, you have to be a writer. You know, if you really want it to be good, it's gotta be an interesting story. There has to be interesting conflicts. They have to have interesting wounds. They have to be compelling. They have to make bad choices. Like, there's no, we can lie to ourselves all we want and say, no, I'm drawing. I'm not writing. I'm just trying to make cool characters. Like, no, you're not. Nope. You're writing. And you're only hurting yourself for whatever amount of time you lie to yourself and tell yourself you're not writing. You just need to bite the bullet and say, you're gonna write. You're gonna improve your writing. You're just gonna become a better writer. Kershal says, Steven, your pandemonium design process was amazing. Thank you. Do you plan on making more? I sure do. I sure will. Yeah, that will continue. Dane says, in your class, how long did you give your students to write the story before visualizing it? Almost half the class, 6 to 7 weeks. A very long time. They were mad. You want to see a pissed off artist? Tell them that they can't draw and they have to write instead for 7 weeks. They'll want to kill you. But they were all happy they did it at the end. Necroval says, how's the Berserk reading coming along? Did you have time for it all? It's still going. I don't get to read it every day. I'm reading it in bits and pieces. I'm on... What the hell was it? They just won that big battle that got... No, I guess I shouldn't do spoilers. I'm still in it. They won a battle. They won a battle that people were like, you can't win that battle. Recently listened to Ian McCaig for the first time. I live under a rock, and both have such a positive love of art vibe. I'd be so happy to hear you in conversation one day. I hope it happens somehow. Oh man, Ian's an inspiration. It'd be cool to talk to him someday. I think it would certainly be an interesting conversation, because from what I understand, Ian does not experience art anxiety, and it seems from what I've heard that he never really has. So it's like as someone who did experience it to a capacity where it defined a large portion of their art practice for a long time, and then sort of got themselves out of it, it'd be interesting, I think, to talk to him and find the distance between us and find where there's alignment and where there isn't and things like that. It's like if you read Shadowline, it's like what stresses Ian out about drawing is just hitting the deadlines. It's like, damn, that's it. That's all that stresses you out. Oh, I gotta check out that Norman Rockwell Museum conversation for sure. For sure. This drawing's a little low res, but I'm too lazy to up res it, so I'm in a prison of my own making, is the conclusion here. Enjoying the read so far? Yeah, it's great. How's the input delay on the newer iPads? I've never really had any input delay on the iPads. certain apps feel a little bit choppier and stuff like that, but in general, the iPad has always been very responsive for me. The iPad is my favorite thing, my favorite digital thing to draw on. It's certainly better than any graphics tablet, and Cintiqs can't stand a chance. I mean, they can't hold a candle, in my opinion. And the Apple Pen is just like regular pencil shape. That's nice. On the topic of Hyperion, what did you think of it? I really liked the first book. I haven't listened to the second one yet. I tend to take a break between books, but I got it queued up. It is purchased and waiting. Why do you consider it easier to draw on than Photoshop? I'm just talking about the surface. I'm not talking about the application. I'm talking about the hardware itself. I would use Photoshop on here if there was like a snappy full version of Photoshop on here, but they don't have that yet. At least not the last I tried. It's a gunked up version of Photoshop. When it comes to the software, I'll do different things in all the different softwares. Like, there's stuff that I won't do in Procreate. I'd rather go do that in Photoshop. There's stuff that I don't like doing in Photoshop. I'd rather go over to Procreate or some other program to do it. The app just depends on the task. Good night, Kerschel. Hi, Steven. Did you watch Dune? If so, what did you think of it? I liked it a lot. I'll be honest, I wish it was just one 6-hour movie. Felt like a rough place to end it personally, but I thought it was quite good. Nope, I just draw right on the glass, Alex.
Here's a quick little break here.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters too. I really wanted to see it on a big screen. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I held out. Hey, Nathan. I'm gonna hop off of here and eat lunch soon, so feel free to throw questions, any ways that I can help you before I leave. Will you do oil painting demo here on YouTube? Probably not. I don't think I'm not good enough with oils to do that, I don't think. I might do oils, but I don't think it'll be a demo. It'll be me going, oh God, what do I do? Oh no, oh, come on, It would just be that for hours. I'm glad I started drawing today, man. I was getting the prickles. I was getting annoyed that I wasn't drawing. If I go too long without drawing, I start getting upset. Just trying to shake the rust off. Not really a question, but if you still play video games, try Blasphemous. I think visually the game is an absolute treat. I will note that. I still play games. I just started playing the Resident Evil 4 remake in VR. I love it. It's the first real like game. I got a VR headset so that I could sculpt and stuff in there. That's the first like real game I've played in there. You know, I've tried some of the experiences and things like that in the smaller well, I've tried other games, but you know what I'm saying, like a narrative, like moving through a world, not first person, but single player kind of a thing. That's the first kind of game I've played like that, and I'm very impressed. I got it right away. I was like, oh right, this is the future. Cool. All right, here we are. Ah, yes, here we are in the future. Hi, Dipendra. Starting a new sketchbook? Lovely. Just based on this sketch, would you like to design your own version of He-Man or She-Ra? Not really. I don't think I really watched He-Man when I was a kid. I generally don't do a lot of fan art. I of course cross paths with the archetypes all the time, like anybody else who was raised in my era. I can't help that stuff is floating around in my head, but my mind doesn't naturally go to drawing properties that I'm already familiar with. You know, I definitely come from a designer background, so I'm usually just swimming around looking for something new. That's where I like to go. I have done it before though. I redesigned all of the Mavericks from Mega Man X years ago. They're still around on the internet if you Google my name and then Mega Man X redesign. Yeah, and it's a weird anxiety. When you're very used to drawing, it's just a part of your day every day. I think it's just when days come up where you don't do it, yeah, it just feels like it's a weird, like, did I skip breakfast kind of a feeling? It becomes like that. What do you do if you're afraid that all your passion projects or plans need to be set aside for non-art related commitments? Like once you come back to your beloved projects, the spark might be gone. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, life gets in the way, you know, life does stuff. Life makes things happen. And you gotta do life, you know, you gotta see people and honor commitments and raise kids and all sorts of stuff. So I don't think there's any getting around that. And I think that just means you have to strike while the iron's hot a lot of the time. That's another one of the reasons that I constantly tell people, like, don't get stuck doing skill-based for years and thinking that, you know, you have to practice drawing for 5 years before you start your comic book or start designing your video game or something like that. It's like, yeah, your life could change such that within those 5 years you now have zero time to work on that. So don't let that happen. Work on your thing. Make the thing. You know, make the thing immediately is what I always advise people to do. If you actually do it, you'll practice drawing plenty along the way. I have a habit of drawing same shapes over and over instead of coming up with more interesting shapes. Any thoughts? Just draw from photography or from life. That's the universal cure to that. Just draw, go to life drawing. Draw your pets, draw your family, draw your room, draw trees. You just draw from life. You don't have to spend very long drawing from life to be reminded of the vast infinitude of shapes and value arrangements that are available. All right, friends, we sketched a lot. Let's flip through the little sketchbooks. Let's see, what did we draw? We drew them. We drew them. We drew them. We drew them. And them. Little bit of sketchbooking time. A little bit of sketchbooking time this morning. Thanks for hanging out. I'm hungry now. I'm gonna go eat some lunch, and I'll see you all again soon. I will hop on stream again very soon. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but very soon. Oh, I'm stretching right now. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's a good stretch. Oh yeah, that was a good dog stretch right there. Bye-bye, everybody.